Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to Winter Wonderland. So we're here in New York.
New York.
And we're out in the snow.
Yeah.
It snowed for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I guess it's about maybe 1.5 inches, almost 2. Not as much as what they got where we were a little while ago. We were down in Maryland, near Washington, D.C. But anyway, we are not here about the snow.
Oh, no.
We are here to do a little reading, and we're going to keep it short. That's what the missus has said.
Yeah, so why don't we just
keep it short?
start?
So
I'm going to tell you we're going to keep it short. Canto 4,
I'll hold you, keep your hands in your
chapter
pocket.
22 and text 62. Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
All right.
So those of you who watched the previous one we did with Michael Dixon, we're going to read the same
Text
and beginning of the purport because we didn't finish it.
because they talk too much. All right, text 62. In his personal behavior, Prithu Maharaj exhibited all good qualities, and in spiritual knowledge, he was exactly like Brihaspati. In self-control, he was like the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. As far as his devotional service was concerned, he was a great follower of devotees who were attached to cow protection and the rendering of all service to the spiritual master and the brahmanas. He was perfect in his shyness and in his gentle behavior, and when he engaged in some philanthropic activity, he worked as if he were working for his own personal self. When Lord Chaitanya talked to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the Lord honoured him as the incarnation of Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the chief priest of the heavenly kingdom, and he is a follower of the philosophy known as Brahmavada or Mayavada. And Brihaspati is also a great logician. It appears from this statement that Maharaj Prithu, although a great devotee constantly engaged in the loving service of the Lord, could defeat all kinds of impersonalists and Mayavadis by his profound knowledge of Vedic scriptures. We should learn from Maharaj Prithu that a Vaishnava or devotee must not only be fixed in the service of the Lord, but if required must be prepared to argue with the impersonalist Mayavadis with all logic and philosophy and defeat their contention that the absolute truth is impersonal. Interesting. Remind me of Prabhupada, because when you read Prabhupada's books, one of the things that stands out is, and I remember when I was first reading Prabhupada's books, I was thinking, why is he constantly like having a go at the Mayavadis and really slamming them and this, the impersonal philosophy and this, and then as you read and you realize how offensive it is to think like that and how also misleading, to be fair, these philosophies are, and they do seep into Hinduism and this and this and this and this. So Prabhupada is doing this work, as it were, of being a, like he's calling Maharaj Prithu, a Vaishnava who engages in devotional service, but also can defeat the Mayavadis, and Prabhupada does that as well.
Yeah, so it was, we discussed a little bit before. It's interesting that, again, Brihaspati is part of that philosophy. So we'll read on. Next paragraph. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ideal self-controller or brahmachari. When Krishna was elected to be president of the Rajasuya Yagna, performed by Maharaj Yudhisthira, grandfather Bhishmadev praised Lord Krishna as the greatest brahmachari. Because grandfather Bhishmadev was a brahmachari, he was quite fit to distinguish a brahmachari from a vyabhichari. Although Prithu Maharaj was a householder and father of 5 children, he was still considered to be the most controlled. One who begets Krishna-conscious children for the benefit of humanity is actually a brahmachari. One who simply begets children like cats and dogs and is not a proper father. One who simply begets children like cats and dogs is not a proper father. The word brahmachari also refers to one who acts on the platform of Brahman or devotional service. In the impersonal Brahman conception, there is no activity. Yet, when one performs activities in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is to be known as brahmachari. Thus, Prithu Maharaj was an ideal brahmachari and grihastha simultaneously. Vishwaksenanuvartishu refers to devotees who are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. Other devotees must follow in their footsteps. Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, "E chai gosai yandra muni tandra das." I am prepared to become the disciple of anyone who follows in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis. Wow, that's powerful. It's amazing how just in one paragraph of Srila Prabhupada's purport, there is so much nectar and so much depth. So Prabhupada nailing down the definition of a brahmachari and explaining that actually someone who is even a householder can be a brahmachari because it means that they understand and utilize sex life for its proper purpose, not someone who just begets children like cats and dogs and basically isn't a proper father. Then he explains that one who understands Brahman, he is also a brahmachari. So in that way, Prithu Maharaj was both a brahmachari and a grihastha. And then at the end, he explains how Narottam Das Thakur is very happy to become the servant of anyone who's perpetually engaged in the service of trying to follow in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis. So some very powerful points brought up here in just second paragraph of a 3-paragraph purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Alright, third paragraph. Also, like all Vaishnavas, Maharaj Prithu was devoted to cow protection, spiritual masters and qualified brahmanas. Prithu Maharaj was also very humble, meek and gentle, and whenever he performed any philanthropic work or welfare activity for the general public, he would labor exactly as if he were tending to his own personal necessities. In other words, his philanthropic activities were not for the sake of show, but were performed out of personal feeling and commitment. All philanthropic activities should be thus performed. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, nice point, just quick, because we're in the snow, is the worst thing is when you do some charity for someone or whatever, and then you let them know I'm doing charity for you. Or it's a yucky feeling if someone, and I mean that on a one-to-one level, but also obviously on a bigger level where, you just gotta, you don't make the other person, and I don't think there's anything wrong if there's like a, this person sponsored this today, or this building was donated by, but it does make a difference of how the person's mood, and it can make you feel quite icky actually if the mood isn't, as Prabhupada says, that some sense of feeling of this is from what I would do for myself, myself, it's not coming from a place of domination and ego, it can actually make you feel I'd rather starve than take your $5 sort of.
Well, I think the main point being made here, and you obviously understood that, but I get it. Your point is that it can be icky when you're interacting with someone who lets you know that they're doing, you a favor kind of thing. But the point here really for me is that the Maharaj Prithu, when he performed charitable activities, he did it with full vigor and full enthusiasm. And the distinction is that generally when people do something for free for somebody else, they do it half-heartedly, or another bodily part, the backside. But someone who's doing something for themselves, they usually give everything. They really give all they've got and try to do their best. So the point is that he did his philanthropic activities as if he was doing it for himself, and that was with all of his heart and with all of his full-on vigor, so like that. So, we've probably been reading for about 6-7 minutes. You want to finish it off? Finish off the chapter.
All right.
All right. So we're now going to read the concluding verse of this chapter 24.
It's you, innit?
Okay. Oh no, I just read the last paragraph.
I did. I read the last paragraph.
Okay. So, text
It's just because you talk so much, so you think you
text
just read it.
63. Throughout the whole universe and the higher, lower, and middle planetary systems, Prithu Maharaj's reputation was loudly declared, and all ladies and saintly persons heard his glories, which were as sweet as the glories of Lord Ramachandra. Lord Shri Ram Ki Jai.
Right.
Purport. In this verse, the words Srinam and Ramaha are significant. It is the practice amongst ladies to hear and enjoy the praises of certain heroes. From this verse, it appears that Prithu Maharaj's reputation was so great that ladies all over the universe would hear of it with great pleasure. At the same time, his glories were heard all over the universe by the devotees, and they were as pleasing as Lord Ramchandra's glories. Lord Ramchandra's kingdom is still existing, and recently there was a political party in India named the Ramraj Party, which wanted to establish a kingdom resembling the kingdom of Ram. Unfortunately, modern politicians want the kingdom of Ram without Ram himself. Although they have banished the idea of God consciousness, they still expect to establish the kingdom of Ram. Such a proposal is rejected by devotees. Prithu Maharaj's reputation was heard by saintly persons because he exactly represented Lord Ramchandra, the ideal king. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 26th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Prithu Maharaj's meeting with the 4 Kumaras. Sorry, 22nd chapter. Yeah, I'm noticing that my mouth is a little bit frozen, and my eyes are also.
It don't sound like your mouth's frozen. Alright, let's call it a day then.
No, I gotta speak something on the purple, isn't it?
Ain't that frozen?
Oh, yeah. Probably not frozen. If I don't talk, then my mouth will lock up. So yeah, so this is great. I love this point about. Do you have something to say?
No, hurry up.
So I love this point. You know, the Ramraj party, and they want to establish the kingdom of Ram, which is great. They want to establish an Ayodhya, perfect society, and but they want to do it without God in the center. So it's the same. You know, we want a perfect society here in the West, but they take God out of the center. So how can you have a perfect society? So like that.
I just reading that, it just reminds me of my upbringing, because my parents are devotees of Lord Ram, and you'd always hear them, especially my dad, wanting to go to, you know, Ramraj when he's had enough of us, basically, wondering when he's going to go. Like, yeah, right. So we heard that a lot about Ramraj.
All right, thank you all very much. We're going to throw a snowball at you now.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Now we're going to throw one at you.
Oh, he just threw a snowball at me.
See you later.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.